Axel, just getting started. Can you tell us anything on the Daniel Bakel situation getting into this?
Yeah, we're very close to get it inked. So for that reason, we allowed him to stay in Europe and to finalize also his last things, because not only us, it's also on his side and medicals and all of that. So we expect to get it done within the next 24, 48 hours.
And what kind of impact does that have on the team?
The immediate impact is that we lose a defensive midfielder. We think that in general we have a lot of players in that area on the field, but of course we keep the eyes open, and we have already kept the eyes open in the past, so we are not completely caught now by surprise. So we have some ideas there, but also Vanny wants to see first the other players, and we have seen that that Janu had some issues with the change of system, and that he was probably the loser of the new system. So if we would look for a player that fits better to the needs we have, but for now it's not like that. We see that as an urgent need. We keep that door open and want to stay flexible if we see an option, or if we would feel that it is more necessary than yet.
How are you feeling about this roster heading into the preseason here, heading into training camp? There is quite a bit of stability from last year. You've said before that you made your big changes during last season. How are you feeling about the roster heading into preseason?
We feel really, really good about the roster, because everyone has seen that in the second part of the last season, we have been a top 3 team in the Western Conference, and we add already players because we get Pedro Vita and Caio back, or first time on the pitch. Players we invested a lot of money for to have them and their quality. And of course, the only player we really lost who had a lot of impact in the second half of the season was Bruno. But we have covered that with the one bigger signing we did with Tristan. So we think that we are in a better place than we have been already in the second part of the last season. And we also see a lot of flexibility that we still have to add other players without being or feeling pushed or rushed into do something. So let's see what also the young guys that we drafted for the trial list, what they can bring into this team, and then we will react later.
Axel, building on what Gemma said, I think there's 3 things. There's the continuity of the roster, which you talked about last week. There's playing a normal schedule, which has you playing at home. And then I also think there's having Vanny for a full year. Am I correct with that assumption? Building on what he started last year?
Absolutely. So I said it this morning in the locker room. I said I'm here the 3rd time speaking in front of the team at the beginning of the season. I said if you would have told me that it becomes so difficult for the first 2 years, so I would not believe that. So this time I said, guys, we all can be excited because we have been the team with the highest amount of disadvantages in the last 2 years, because we have played less home games than everyone else in this league. So now finally to prepare for a season at home, after we have also proved that home makes a big difference for us, is something exciting. Then of course we want to keep that energy and that great flow that we had at the end of the last season with Vanny, with the group, and to continue with that. And so I agree on everything, because that's also a reason why we kept the group together, because they have proven it. And I always say, if you do too many changes, there's also always the danger that you make things worse, at least for a first moment, because we see that players need time to adapt to this league. And now we have a good core group that has proven that they have adapted to the league, that they can perform on a high level, that they can help us to get results. So let us continue with them.
Is Vanny's contribution to the team greater with his X and O's on the pitch, or Vanny as a person? Because for me, they both seem to be perfect, and you made your decision for a reason. When you hear Vanny, when you see him, what do you see in him as a coach and as a person?
I see a football teacher, because where I come from, we have 2 different words for coaching approaches, and one is a manager and the other one is a teacher. For me, Vanny is the classical football teacher, a guy that teaches the game and teaches the tactics and teaches young guys to become better. That was the reason why 1.5 years ago we moved him to the academy to have his impact there. And now, as we continue to build on a lot of young guys, and we want to continue to work with a lot of young guys, I think he's the perfect fit for us.
But there's teachers that you hated as a child, and there's teachers that you love. he's loved by everybody. Doesn't matter, right? Like there's a teacher who can give you a kick in the ass, or there's a teacher who can go about really patting on the back. He seems to be the total package as a teacher.
I can tell you that there are also other variations of his approach, but not on the pitch. And in an office under four eyes, he can also be very direct, and he can also kick somebody in the ass if necessary. But that's the full package that you have to have as a teacher. And I think there's a lot of exciting things for us next season, also for the young guys, because every player likes to get help to become better, to become a better player, to grow as a player, because for everyone, the next season is not the last step in his career, and everyone wants to grow as a player, and what they really trust in is that when he is the guy that can help them.
I wanted to ask you about one of the new faces that we saw today in specific, Kwame, the trialist. What did you see in him that made you want him to come and show his stuff for this team?
What we really see in him is that he fits to our system, because we play with the wing-back positions, but our wing-backs and our outside center-backs have to interpret their roles in a certain way. And he has this versatility. So he has proven that on a high level, also in the CONCACAF competitions. So we think that he's a very, very interesting Canadian young guy that could compete in our group for that position. And I think we have another young Canadian with Christian Gutierrez there. But as I said after the draft, we like to have a lot of young guys competing, because competition and getting challenged in every single training and to see your opponent, a good strong opponent there, is also helpful to grow as a player. And we want to find out if he can be the challenger for Guti, to become that both players at the end become a better player.
Axel, can you please provide an update into the independent investigation that the league has taken into the club? Can you tell us what's happening with that?
Yeah, the only thing I can tell you that we have received a lot of questions, and we had to answer them. I think they have received hundreds of pages of answers from us yet, but other than that, they are not sharing with us where they are. We are still under investigation. We are fully cooperating with them and providing each answer. So we don't even know the exact timeline. They at the beginning they told us we should not ask questions. They will ask us questions. So the only thing I can say, we have given them a lot of material to get for them to get to a result. But whenever that happens, I don't know yet.
Axel, sounds very extensive. The investigation that's going on. Would that how you would assess it? And how challenging has it been to have to take such a look inside an organization?
I don't care if it is challenging, because we want to get it done right. I said that from the beginning. If I put my face here in front of cameras and you, then I want to stand for something that I think it's the right way, the right approach. So if it takes time, if it is challenging, if it takes a lot of effort, that's not the problem. The only thing is, obviously, this all has to be done by people that haven't been here at that time. So it sometimes costs us a little bit more time, because we have also to dip into it and to find all those files. Because everyone who could help us with that is on a leave and not part of the process. But again, the most important thing for me is that at the end we get to a result that everyone who is looking at us feels comfortable with it. That's the result, or the outcome that is correct, that is right. And as I said, after that, we also as a club, or I am as a person, because that's also the reason why I feel confident or comfortable to read that process, have the right to take my decisions. And then there is another process after that where we have to take decisions with the outcome of the investigation.
Any idea when it will be concluded?
Although they told us not to ask, of course, in between a few calls we said, hey, is there anything you can share with us? But they said they don't want to share with us anything about that.
Just to confirm, everyone who was placed on leave, are they still on leave now?
Yes.
In terms of players, we saw Toss Ricketts was out there, trialist. Were you guys interested in signing him, or what's the process in regards to Toss?
Tosain and the club has agreed to a contract, so he will stay with the Whitecaps for a long period of time. If he also stays as a player, it's something we will find out within the next weeks. One thing was for us very obvious and clear in all our discussions that we want to keep him as a very important employee of this club in an important role also, but we also didn't want to cut off his career by making him an offer to stay as an important face and spokesperson for this club. So we agreed that he will continue to compete here on the pitch for a spot with Vanni Sartini. That's a decision that only will be made between him and Vanni Sartini, but he has a contract with this club. And I'm very, very happy if at one day when he comes to my office and say, please sign him also on a player contract, we have the spot open then for him, and we will make that possible.
Now, if you do sign him, obviously he takes up a roster spot. I'm wondering how are your spots looking right now? Do you have to move out another player before the season starts? Are you looking to create more space?
We don't have to, because we have open senior roster spots and we could move players up and down, and that's all possible. But also, it is not a big surprise that there have been also a few other players that have been on loan and that haven't played that much last season. So also there we are still in discussions if we are the exact right club for them to get to meaningful minutes. So this is also a camp is also for that, at least the first part of a camp, to really evaluate and to discuss with your players what are their chances. We have now with the second team also other options. We can also loan players into our second team, but then we all have to be convinced that the second team is the right platform for the players. So we have also a few clubs reaching out to us with interest in some of our players. I would say it will take probably until San Diego, until we are in a position where we really know what the core squad of this first team will be, and we will want to give the players and ourselves the time to get to the right decision.
That interest that you're receiving from elsewhere, does that include a player maybe like Lucas Cavallini?
Interest is also there in Lucas Cavallini, but that doesn't mean that we feel comfortable with that interest, or that doesn't mean that we are up to do the first deal, because as I said a few days ago, we expect Lucas to come back stronger and better than he has been in the second half of the last season. And I think that he was a very impactful, important player in the first half before he went to the Gold Cup. And without him, he scored 4 goals that actually helped us to get to, I think, 8 points. So without that point, we would not make it to the playoffs. So first of all, also with Lucas, we expect him. We have done this investment. We believe in him. He is an actual Canadian national team player. We expect him to show up here and also to find out what kind of important role he can play in our club. It's not about us. We are not shopping him around. We are not selling Lucas. And for that reason, if somebody wants to sign Lucas, it's not us taking a decision here. It would be other parties. Again, we are not selling him. So I would have to get convinced by somebody. And right now, nobody is convincing me.
So you're not convinced?
I'm not convinced to let Lucas go because I spoke with Lucas and I spoke with his agent, and he got called up for the Canadian national team again. And I told his agent and Lucas that we think that there is a lot of value for our team in Lucas. If he now comes back and has a preseason and can get back to shape and has no injuries. So if somebody else has a different opinion about that, he has to tell me, but nobody has told me. And for that reason, the only thing that I'm convinced of is that Lucas is an important player for our club.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just lastly, last year, the difference between last year and this year. Last year you moved a football club down south for 2-3 months. This year you don't have to do that. Just talk about the difference between last year and this year in terms of your football club and having to start here.
I think the most important thing is that we really can focus on the technical side, and we can focus really day to day on when he can focus day to day on making this team ready and better. Last year we had so many distracting discussions around the move, and it had a huge impact to every player, to everyone in our team, in our club, to solve problems, family problems, school problems, jobs of wives, and all of that. That I came into this building every single day, and it was like we spent every minute, other than the minutes on the pitch, on those things. And this year, it starts in a complete different way. The players have, the moment they come to this building, everything is only about becoming a better player, and we are becoming a better team. And that's hopefully makes a big difference in lining up to the season and being more ready for the season than last year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.